Hey, are you a debut writer curious about the whole publishing process? Are you wanting to see a real behind the scenes step-by-step process and what it looks like? Well, stick around because this series is for you. Check out my full playlist here. Okay, so this video is kind of a part 2 to this video right here, all about marketing your book. I, at this point in time, don't really have much of an audience except for the few that are, you lovely few who are watching. And so this little series, these 2-part series that I'm doing about marketing my book, hopefully will give you some insight into tangible things that you can do that are not overwhelming or scary and are quite fun. Okay. Here we go. If you haven't already, I would super recommend organizing yourself with everything that has to do with your book. Create a folder on your desktop that has everything organized and itemized so that everything can be at a glance. When I click into it, you can see everything at a glance. I have my A+ content, which we're gonna talk about here in just a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes into the video. The Amazon ads and the questionnaire, again, we're gonna talk about that in a couple of minutes. All of the edits that I have, we have my editor's notes for my content editing. Definitely watch that video if you haven't, where she ripped my book to shreds. We have the first round of edits, the second, the third, and the final. It went through 4 different edits with the content editor. We have my invoices, the login info to my Amazon and Ingram Spark and Author Central page, all of that good stuff for the people that I'm working with, because I am doing what's called hybrid publishing. And if you don't know what hybrid publishing is, check out that video right here where I go into detail, because there's like 3 ways now how to publish. It's fantastic. When I finished this about 2 or so years ago, I started looking into marketing and self-publishing. I became extremely overwhelmed, and I just froze. I stopped. Well, now it's kind of inevitable that I need to do something. So I looked at different things, like baby steps, on where I could start and what I could do that I would enjoy and that would not be overwhelming in the whole marketing aspect. If you watch the first marketing video, I was relieved to hear you do not need to spread yourself thin. You do not need TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, blah, 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 blah. Like all these different platforms. You don't need them if you don't want them. I am someone who does not want to spread myself very thin. Okay, so what am I doing myself? First, we're gonna start with Pinterest. This didn't seem to overwhelm me or scare me and make me wanna run for the hills. So I created a Pinterest account. I really liked doing pins. It was fun to create. I just took screenshots from my videos that I have here on YouTube, and then I would create pins, about 6 pins for each video, and I would find SEO like taglines or search keywords, there we go, keywords from Pinterest. I would apply them to the the pin, and then link the pin to my YouTube channel. So just kind of like trying to generate traffic to my YouTube channel. It's very easy, but it is like time consuming, you know, but it's not a bad thing. You can just have something playing on in the background. And I really do like that Pinterest has a scheduler, so I can schedule out lots of pins. I also like to mix them up with some of my funny reels that I have on here. So I have a mixture of both stills, picture stills, and videos, because, you know, everything nowadays is going into videos and reels and stuff like that. So the next thing that I decided to do that would be tangible and easy for me is then have an Instagram. And what I've decided to do is create the world of my book on Instagram. I know a lot of people do that as well, but that's what I'm deciding to do, is to create the world and the characters, sneak peeks into the book. So if you're interested in looking at all that stuff, you can hop on over to Instagram. What I also did that was very, very helpful for me was I purchased on Etsy a book launching Instagram packet that I am able to edit in Canva. I know how to use Photoshop, but for these, I figured it would be easier in Canva because they have a lot of pre-made templates that I can edit and customize for myself. It wasn't a whole lot of money for this packet that I bought on Etsy. It was like 15, 20 bucks maybe. It was so helpful for someone who had no idea where to start. All of the templates inside of that packet that I bought really kind of guided me into the direction that I needed to go and how to make things look. For my launch, I manipulated them and I configured them to fit my color scheme, my style, my genre, and all that good stuff. It took me about 2 weeks or so off and on to prep all of my posts and reels. I wanted to make as many as I could beforehand, before I started like posting every single day, so I didn't have to worry and frantic create posts the day of. I wanted a methodical plan. Okay, so I started creating all these posts in the end of April of 2026, and my plan was to start posting on May 1st and post all the way up until and after my book launch, which is on June 30th. So a doable system that I created for myself was posting 4 to 5 times a week until my book launch. And that was, I figured out, about 9 or so weeks. And that meant I was going to be needing to create about 36 posts and reels, thereabouts. Depended on if I only did 4 posts that week or 5 posts that week. Okay, so I started creating. I kept in mind something that Abby Emmons said a long time ago, which was about exciting and enticing your readers about your story rather than just saying, hey, I'm a debut author, buy my book. And I personally don't want to do that. I'd rather have someone be excited about my story rather than begging for views. I created all of my posts not using AI. All of my posts or all of my pictures and videos that I found were on free stock websites like Unsplash, Pexels, Pixabay, all that good stuff. Now, I am extremely happy about my posts and my reels that I have created. I'd like to think that I'm doing a pretty decent job creating the world and creating the characters. I am unfortunately stuck in that 200 view trap right now that people seem to get lumped into on Instagram, but that's okay. Okay, so now that I have all these posts, I then wanted to schedule them and plan which posts and reels were going to go which day of the week and which week I wanted them to be in. Did I want them to be in week 1 or week 5? I sat down. I wanted to do this physically first. I had my notebook. I wrote it out physically. I started writing out captions, like little teasers and little hooks to provide curiosity. And I was writing those down physically in my notebook. Okay, so now I had it all physical. It was very messy. It got all weird, like just a lot of messiness. So then I put it on a sticky note on my desktop computer and I made it all nice and neat looking. So I knew which post is to go that particular day of the week. And then I've just been crossing it off on this sticky note on my computer. I love a good checklist. I love crossing things off. It's so nice. And that is what I have been doing so far with my marketing, the things that I can do myself. So what are some things that you are doing or have done when launching your book, if you have launched a book before? What other things could I possibly implement going forward? I would love to know in the comment section. So another thing that I did for marketing, it was a small thing, but it's something that Amazon is encouraging people to do. It's not mandatory, but it's definitely another visual enhancer, is doing what's called A+ content. Now you can hire someone to do this, or you can do it yourself. I did it myself. I looked at so many examples of A+ content that were in my genre and not my genre. I saved a lot of them. And so it took a few hours off and on for about 2 weeks for me to kind of really hone in on a look and a design that I wanted and that would look good. I finally came up with this. It's simple and I think it works. In a few minutes, I'll tell you whether or not it passed or failed. The professional Amazon services gentleman guy that I hired, whether it passed his what do you call it? Approval? There we go. But the next thing I needed to do was set up my Author Central account. I'll list a video down below that I watched, but it wasn't a very, I basically had to just shoot from the hip and just do it myself. I was a dork when setting it up and used the wrong email. It was like my personal email. So that was a little bit of a hiccup, and trying to figure out how to switch to my professional email. But this is where you're going to be able to upload a profile picture and upload your author bio. Okay, in the part 1 of this little 2-part marketing series that I'm doing, I talked to you about more information on the Amazon ads after talking to the manager that I hired. We had our meeting, and it was so relieving. I felt like I was able to just like exhale. So I was given a questionnaire to fill out, and it was for the Amazon ads. It asked for my login information for my Author Central page and my Amazon, my KDP. Yeah, and the reason I'm giving that to them is because they are I am hybrid publishing, and they are doing all of that for me. They're setting up my book for me, so they need all my login information. This questionnaire asked what 5 books and authors are comparable to my book. Watch this video right here on my confessions and my struggles in this area. So the next thing that I was supposed to fill out in this questionnaire was my book's description. I just used the back of my book for the description, and I just put that in there. It asked for a few words or phrases that describe my book or genre. I just, wrote things like coming of age, found family, young adult fiction, things like that. It asked for a short author bio, and I just wrote the one that was on the back of my book. And then it asked for 150 character blurbs about my book. So 150 characters, not 150 words. And they wanted them for each of my characters, 3 of them. And so I did one for my protagonist, obviously, and then for her best friend, and then for her mother. And oh my goodness, this was so hard trying to write about them in 150 characters or less. And when I was talking with the Amazon marketing gentleman, he was like, you have no idea, you are not alone in this. So many people, including himself, it's so hard to write character blurbs for your own characters. It's like, it is, isn't it? And then the last question asked what my desired monthly budget was for ads. In marketing, I'm sure that you've heard you have to spend tons of money on marketing to get any kind of return on investment. Some people spend thousands of dollars, and I started to freak out a tiny bit because I hadn't really thought about this until I was asked the question. I was so relieved when talking with the Amazon marketing gentleman, and he put my fears to rest. He said that the first month or 2, him and his team are really collecting data, anything and everything, all the kind of information up for your book, my book. And he told me that it's really beneficial for someone like me, where I'm at, to just do $100 a month for ads. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is totally doable. I can totally do that. And then he's like, as we continue on, we can bump it up more as we're figuring out more information. And he did say that, there are different companies that, if you put in $1,000 for them to create ads for you and push, they will use all of that $1,000, all of it, and sometimes it may not be the most beneficial how they're using it. So he said, let's start with just $100, so that way we can collect all the data first, and then we can really see how this book is performing, what we need to change, and all that stuff before we start pouring in tons of money into all these different ads that may not be beneficial for your book. And I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, and the day that we hopped on a call, I had just finished and uploaded my A+ content onto my Amazon account. So when we started our meeting, I had told him everything that I had started doing, and I told him that I just uploaded my A+ content onto my account. And he told me, yeah, I already saw it. It looks great. And I told him, I said, does it, like, in your professional opinion, does it look okay? Is it cheap looking? Is it kind of not so great looking? Because I did it. And I just want to make sure that I want honest feedback if I need to create it and do something different to it. And he goes, you did that? I'm like, yeah. He's like, usually I can tell when authors have done their A+ content, and I couldn't tell. I thought you hired a professional to do that for you. And I was like, oh, thanks. That was so nice. So, you know, passed the test. I don't know how to pin this on without it ruining the clothes. Is that good? Golly, I hope you can't hear the freaking pounding next door. It's weird. Some repetitive pounding. My neighbors are interesting, to say the least. Okay. We're recording. Hey, are you a now you can hire someone to do